Hi, it's Robert, the Red Tie Guy, and for today's Terms, Tech, and Tips Tuesday, I am going over the word contingency. What is a contingency? What does active contingent mean? What should you, as the buyer, know about contingencies? What should you, as a seller, know about contingencies? And a small disclaimer at the end. But first, a quick disclaimer. Every deal in every house is different. So, this video is for general real estate advice and to help you be more familiar with the typical transaction. This is not specific real estate advice for your deal. If you're doing a transaction and watching this video for advice on a specific transaction, then consult with the real estate professional representing your interest in that transaction or with a lawyer. Now, what is contingency? A contingency is a circumstance in the future that cannot be predicted, which allows one party to cancel the deal. For example, the buyer might have inspection contingencies, which allow them to cancel if they do not like what they find in inspections, or they can cancel if the seller is unwilling to do an acceptable amount of repairs. Alternatively, the buyer may have an appraisal contingency, which allows them to cancel if the home does not appraise. All of these contingencies, however, have guidelines or terms. Perhaps there's a deadline for which a contingency must be used, or there may be documents required in order to cancel on that contingency. There are also contingencies which allow the seller to cancel. There may be additional contingencies negotiated at the offer stage of the transaction. All of these will have very specific terms, timeframes, documents submitted, circumstances which allow them to be used. You need to keep an eye on these specifics. That being said, what is active contingent? Active contingent means the home is still being marketed. They're still accepting offers, but as a backup offer in case the first offer falls through. Active contingent means that the home has accepted an offer, but the buyer may still use one or more contingencies in the future if the circumstances allow. Perhaps the home is still in inspections. Perhaps the home is awaiting an appraisal. These are circumstances where it is active contingent. After the appraisal stage, it's typically considered pending, as there are no more contingencies which the parties see as a chance for the transaction to be canceled. That being said, what should you as the buyer know about contingencies? You need to know your contingencies, how you can use them, and what are the deadlines involved in it. For example, the inspection period has a limited number of days, and you should use that to the fullest. Inspect for everything you can think of, and know just how you could potentially cancel in those contingencies. Do you have an option to cancel if the seller says that they're only going to do some of the repairs you asked? Do you have an option to cancel if the seller says that they're doing all of the repairs? The answer is you probably don't get a chance to cancel if the seller says they're doing all of the repairs. Also, if you are canceling because it did not appraise, there's a limited time frame for you to cancel. And there's also notices and documents you would need to provide if you are canceling because it appraised low. So keep that in mind and keep the deadlines in mind so that you don't miss your contingency windows, and also that you can use the most of them from a negotiating standpoint as well. What should you as a seller know about contingencies? Well, contingencies are what allow the real estate market to go up. People buy homes at an expensive price because they're able to get loans on those homes. However, they do need to back out if they find out that their home does not fit what they believe in inspections, or if the home does not appraise. This is what allows bidding wars to happen. Buyers aren't going to make offers. They aren't going to fight each other for offers if they all have to wait in line to get up and inspect the roof. They're not going to all wait. They're not going to bid high and competitively if they know that, oh shoot, I might be out my money or I might be in a bad situation if it appraises low. These contingencies are what allow demand to go up. Cash buyers who do not have inspections and don't have appraisals know that they're in a better situation. And these cash buyers will typically say, well, how could I get this home for less because I have the convenience of being a cash buyer? Well, just know that if the people are offering without contingencies, they know they're a better deal and they're usually offering a little less. You can also leverage this to your advantage if you are aware of a contingency and a little smarter about the likelihood of the contingency being used. For example, you might have a buyer offering to buy your home with a contingency requiring that his home closes or his home accepts an offer as he needs to sell his home to complete buying your home. Well, be aware that maybe his home is reasonably priced and you don't expect it to be that difficult. Maybe he is really in love with your home as a seller and you anticipate he would accept even a low offer on his home in order to complete the transaction on your home. As such, you might be able to negotiate for a slightly better price, knowing that this person has a contingency and might not be able to easily make an offer on other homes because he knows he would offer with that buyer contingency of his own. Also, be aware that this will potentially make you lose a little sleep. Inspections can be stressful for the seller. Waiting on an appraisal and wondering for weeks what the appraiser may say can be a little stressful to you. Think now about how much that stress is worth. Are you willing to have some uncertainty about inspections and appraisals? Or how much would you be willing to lose or potentially not get in an offer in order to get an offer without those contingencies? Think about that before the offer comes in, and you'll be able to act more confidently when offers do come in. Also, consult with your real estate professional about what are the time frames and expectations. Now, last but not least, this is general real estate advice and going over the terms in typical transactions. Each transaction is different. Contingencies can be added, changed, or waived. You could get into a complicated situation where someone is saying, hey, I'm buying a home with a large lot. I want a survey contingency with these terms. Or I want other contingencies based on specific circumstances. The terms for those, when they can be used, what needs to be done for those to be used, can change in any transaction, and they will vary. There's no doubt that the terms of contingencies will probably change in any given year based on the real estate market, based on the way contracts are written. So, if you have a question about the contingencies in your specific transaction, consult with the real estate professional who's representing your interest in drafting that contract. Consult with a lawyer if necessary. Ask what happens if you cancel a deal outside of a contingency. Be very aware of these and be aware that this is not legal advice, but general advice, general real estate knowledge. And if you're watching this video for a specific transaction, then again, consult those that are representing your interest in that transaction. So, that said, this is Terms, Tech, and Tips Tuesday. I'm Robert, the Red Tie Guy. Be more than happy to talk to you about what your home could sell for. Tune in next week for the next Terms, Tech, and Tips Tuesday. And I look forward to hearing from y'all. Be sure to comment below, like, and subscribe. Thank you.